morning, Fix-It Tony here. Today's project is probably going to span over a couple days, but you will see here that when our house was built brand new, we have a screen porch, and the screen porch has really taken its toll. The weather has taken its toll on the screen. We have some ripped screens. As you can see here, this track system that held the screen in place, it always slides down, creating these gaps. In the wintertime, a lot of dust would go into the room, so in the winter I tried to apply just a standard window film. That helped. It also helped to moderate the temperature. We have a dog, and the dog has sort of scratched and ripped the screen. The doorknob was just a cheap aluminum thing, and has not really fared well over time. I had to replace that. The wood has certainly rotted. This was not a exterior wood. I think it was just like a pine or spruce or something, and despite staining, snow and rain, it does wear it off and it becomes rotted. You can see that the door is really in desperate need of replacement, so we're going to begin today by just removing this door. It's on hinges, so we're just going to basically unscrew these hinges. This track system, we're just going to pull apart. That's how we're going to do it, and you can see how this track system, how it holds the screen, just like a regular screen panel. You have a screen, it gets taut by hand, and then you put a bead in, and that helps to tighten the screen. To replace the screen, screens can be not too expensive, but the time, energy, and effort, this track system, it served its purpose well over the years, but it's time. So we're going to unscrew these screws. As you can see here, we're going to unscrew these screws. We're going to pop that off. Alright, so I'll get my cordless drill and my tools, and we'll go from there. A Phillips bit, and these screws are still in good shape, so I'm going to save them. Pull off this bead. There. And then I do have new windows that I'm actually going to be putting here and here and here. So this is all going to be redone. The trim will be similar to this trim. So you have cedar rough board. That'll go over top of the window. All right, let's do the hinges. Pretty straightforward. Now that I got the bottom done, and since I'm doing this myself, I will have to put the camera down. But what I'm going to do is make sure this middle screw is tight. Okay, and then I'm going to remove these two screws. Same for up here. I'm going to make sure the middle one is tight, and then remove then when I use two hands, I'll be able to just undo one screw, and I'll have to remove the hardware. I'll have to remove the hardware for the door spring closure system and this pump. All right, so that's going to be next. Take a moment and illustrate. Now I probably could find a way to get this nail out. It's a finished nail, and I could probably go from different angles, you know, and pull it out, but sometimes the hammer won't work. And that's where these kinds of pliers, these sort of flush cutter, snippy things come in. So what you do is you kind of grab it flush up against the wood. You squeeze down, not hard enough that it cuts, but enough to kind of grab it, and then you rock down. You can see how that comes out. Then you adjust your grip, pinch it again, and then that's how you take it out. The nail becomes a nice curve, and look at that, 90 degrees. So that's a quick tip in case a hammer or other pry bar system doesn't work in pulling out a nail that might have a damaged head. All right, so I'm gonna take a moment. I got all the trim off. As you can see, sometimes a nail comes with the wood. Now this wood is pretty hard. The nails are bent. If this was a heavier nail, I would just simply straighten the nail up and then pound it back through. You know, if I was taking a nail out of a 2x4, that's the method I would use. But if you have a shoe molding or finish trim that you want to remove a nail, it's best to always pull it from the back out through the back. It prevents the face from getting damaged or splintered any more than it already has with a hole. And if this was a finished trim that I wanted to reuse, then I could either use the same hole or fill this hole up, and I would minimize the damage to the finished surface. But it's easier for me to pull this nail out. It's going to be easier for me to pull this nail out through. So I'm going to use these same pliers. I'm going to grab the nail, and then I'm going to push it away from me. Oh, I didn't get that on film. Let's try again. Okay, I'm going to do this again because I didn't get it on film. So I'm going to hold this up. Let's see, and pinch. Remember, don't pinch too hard because you might cut the nail with these cutters. And then I'm going to push away from me, and then you can see how it pops right through. And if you're going to reuse this, you can see minimal damage, which is to the finished side. In fact, only the pre-existing hole remains. So I want to show you the flashing tape, for the lack of a better term, that I'll be using. This is 4 inches by 33 feet, so I have 2 rolls. 4 inches is going to be good for me because I'm going to be wrapping. I'll be marking a center line on this, and I'll be wrapping it around this way and around this way. It's going to probably end around here somewhere as I fold it over. And you'll see that as I put my track or my frame for my storm door, it's going to rest right on it. And then I will take another piece of this roll, start from the half, and wrap it again around here, and that will allow me to completely seal this post. And as I nail my window and my door, all the holes will be sealed, and that's the key thing, to protect the wood from any new penetration. So when you drive a screw through it, water can seep in behind and start the rot process. But with this membrane, the membrane seals around the screw and it prevents water from penetrating. Okay, so as you can see, I drew a pencil line which represents this back edge,
And that pushes this flashing far enough forward such that I can fold this down. I can fold this material down and get it down and cover this up. Okay, the reason I did that is I'm going to be applying it to the top here first. It'll be easier for me to cut around the corners, and you'll sort of see how that goes as I now begin to peel off this adhesive backing. Let me see if I can feel it off. All right, come on. It helps if you have fingernails. Laying down in the middle, roughly in the middle. Okay, I laid this down on the line and all the way to the corner. And now I'm going to just use my finger and really push this in against the corner. Okay, lay this really nice and flat. Get a good solid adhesion. And then I'm rolling this up. Okay, now I need to cut that. Basically, you just cut it straight out, and then it folds over, and then it folds over. There you go. Now you'll see how this comes all the way around to the other side. Then I cut this, put my point of my knife right near the outside corner, puncture and score out, and go down and all right. Now the reason I have to weather strip this windowsill and come up is because I do have to put this on, and I want this to overlap. So that's why you have to have this as the base. So if any water comes down, it washes off. I'm almost ready to begin the installation process of the storm door. I have the weather stripping sealant all the way sealed. I'm adding one more piece at the top. You can see that after you cut and fold, you create this V strip. So this second strip covers up that gap that's created so that everything is covered up tight. I'll cut this over and fold it over so that it is sealed, so that the top is all ready to go. I will then run another strip. I'm gonna cut half a strip and put it up here, up to there, up to probably about here, and then a full strip, a full width down, overlapping this, and then wrapping around here to then create a similar wrap all the way around. Here's my storm door. It has a built-in pet door, and that's the top, obviously. So I'm gonna go through the instructions. It looks mostly assembled. All right, so once you review the instructions and you want to know which way the door's swinging, we're gonna swing the door. We're gonna put the hinges on this side. So we're gonna put the hinges on this side so that when the door opens, we open it like this. And if we do have to let the dog out, they can go straight out. Likewise, if we want to go out and walk straight out, we can. It also, I think it'll help keep the wind, which usually comes from this direction, from slamming the door open. I'd rather have the wind be driving the door shut than trying to drive the door open. So the way this works is we have to first locate. So I put the rail straight up against the corner and I mark this fish looking outline, and then I'm going to put, I drilled a small pilot hole with my tiny drill, and I will be sticking this screw in. I'm going to leave about this much of the threads exposed, because what will happen is this screw will come in and then slide across, and it'll help support the door while I place the other screws. Okay, so this is going to be the inside, this is the outside. You can see how it's going to look finished. Alright, this is the outside nailing, this is a screw flange, this is the outside exterior of the door. The factory supplies these short half-inch screws. I'm going to be putting the one screw in each of the pre-drilled factory holes. Well, the instructions say that this hinge rail will overlap the top of the door by about 1/8 of an inch, which is correct. The next step is, you'll see, right, that little dot is a screw, and we're going to install the door. We're going to hang the door on that screw. We're going to be lifting the door up so that the corner is tight against the corner, and we're going to start installing screws like this in the circle holes on the door, not the slotted holes. I'm going to have a helper stabilize the door while I do this. Door like that. Come over here, and you're gonna hold. Let's see here. What's the best way to do this?
You're gonna put more screws in.
Yeah. We have to jack this up. Get the drill and put that screw right here. Where? Right now. Right here. Yeah. Okay. There. Let's close the door. Let's see if the door shuts first. Wouldn't that be something if it didn't? Oh, nice. So now what we're going to do, we're going to put these screws in. Looks like it's about 1/2 inch. All right. No problem. I'm gonna have to fill. So this rough opening is a little bit too wide. So my solution is going to be, I'm going to be adding a piece of wood down the entire length here. That's about 1/2 inch to 5/8 of an inch thick. I do have some wood in the garage, so I'm going to go find what kind of wood I have and see what type of modifications I'm going to need to make to that wood in terms of cutting it to size. Okay, so what I did, I had some 3/4 inch poplar that was 1 foot wide, and I cut it to length, and then I had a table saw, and I was able to bring it back down to the 1/2 inch width is what I needed here. And I'm just going to stick it on, basically like that, and then I'm just going to stick it like this. Here, I'll show you. That builds up my thickness, and I will screw it in place, and I'll put, then that's pretty much it. The screws are still going to go here, so I don't have to worry about that wood or water penetration, and just screw that in there, and then I'll be able to finish up the door. Now we're going to get it flush. So I have a helper. Push that up there, and then I kick it out. There, now it's flush. Now it wants to bounce out, I mean it wants to bend back in. But what I'm gonna do, hold on, move your hand. I'm going to put a screw in to start. And then, as I'm holding, you just hold the square, and then I bring the wood. We don't really need to care about the squareness, but just hold this edge tight up against the 4x4. There, see how it's even now? One more down here. Okay. Good.
I can't reach that high.
No problem. I can reach. How about you step over here and you push that in? You push that way. Like that, yeah. Good. Oh, shakamaka. Oh, it wants to go in an old hole. I don't want it to go in an old hole.
Shakamaka.
Okay. Let's put one more screw in the bottom, and then we'll see how it's doing. Okay. Time to close the door. Want to close the door?
Moment of truth.
Moment of truth. Swing that little thing gently. Oh, let's check the gap. Oh, nice gap. There was a template that came with the door that you folded the paper and then you drilled the necessary holes. So I did that already. This is the key that goes through the door. And then these are the screws that are going to hold the latch together. This is the interior. Let's see if we can do this. Yeah, we're gonna do this. So here's the latch. I'll put my foot under the door. Okay. Put that through. Put that in there. And then this has a spring. So, does it? No, this doesn't have a spring. But I think I want this so you can use your one finger. So we're going to turn it like that. And then slowly try to locate the hole. I think I got that one in. I won't tighten it all the way because I do want to, oh, see that? That dropped on me. So I have to take this out. The square hole shifted. There we go. Now, can I relocate that hole? Maybe, just by feeling it. It's gotta go easy. 2 fingers, see that? It's going in. Okay, now, oh gosh, I hope I'm getting this on film. And then, yeah, see, I feel like I hit something. So, start backward. Yeah, I heard a little click, as if it sort of seated. And then, yeah, I got it. 2 finger. And my handle, still pretty good. Okay. Now if you tighten this too much, it might interfere with the spring. So I'm gonna tighten it. I didn't use thread locker. If this thing loosens up next year, I'll put thread locker. Well, I did a couple of other tweaks. I raised my threshold all the way up. I adjusted the screw notch one more over, and I made that go fast. And because it's so much more airtight in here, the door is just barely shutting. I open this window. 3, 2, 1. I open this window to prove the air pressure component and open the door, and then you'll see what happens. See, it closes. So this room is a little quite airtight. So now if I close my window and then I shut the door, right? And then I walk as if I'm going into the house. As I open the door into the house, it creates a negative pressure in the room, and then it pulls that door shut. Isn't that interesting? I'll fart around, see if I could fix it, but I think I'm happy with the outcome. And it's actually cooler in this room than it was before. So even without my window screens, I did take them off the track. Because I'm going to have to remove the plastic film and the screws, and then the trim is going to come on, and then those rolls will be back on top. So I'll give you a post video once it's all done. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, hit like. Thank you for watching.